Greetings comrades, my name is Gigantals. In this video I'll be looking at and refuting anti-Catholic memes. So I've already done videos for refuting anti-biblical memes. I've got the anti-Christian one, and I'll be doing the anti-Catholic one. I mean, it's pretty much self-explanatory. I'll be looking at memes posted by anti-Catholics and refuting them in maybe misunderstandings of the faith, or mistranslations, or lack of historical context, or metaphors. Which I guess in a sense it puts them in the same category as anti-biblical, anti-Christian memes, which have no clue about the Bible. I mean, that's something you'll typically find when it comes to criticism of Catholicism. It's if they usually it's the same tactics that they use against the Bible and Christianity in general, but just tailored to go against Catholicism instead. So it's again the same mistranslation, misunderstanding, lack of context, or maybe they're interpreting something either the metaphor or literal when it shouldn't be. So we're getting straight into it. This is a really stupid one I've been looking forward to doing. Basically, it shows apparently a picture of Semiramis and Nimrod. So Nimrod here is meant to be a child sitting on Semiramis' lap, and then it shows Mary holding Jesus in her lap, and so it shows Nimrod and Jesus doing the you know when the priests do the blessing like this, like how's it? They do it like they do something like this. Something like that, right? And then the second image that cuts through it shows apparently Semiramis with the crown on the head holding Nimrod, and then next to it shows the Blessed Virgin Mary with the crown on the head holding Jesus. And it says, notice the similarities between the Mary of Christendom and the ancient Babylon's Semiramis, the goddess who wore a crown and was called the Queen of Heaven. I just want to say this is definitely one of the stupidest memes I've ever seen. Something you will definitely see when you see anti-Catholic memes is they'll usually point about how the depiction of the Jesus on Mary's lap is somehow pagan, and they'll show like various ancient versions. So like a Hindu god on one of the Hindu goddesses' laps, or Horus on Isis's lap, or when you have the other numerous ones. And you can tell it's very stupid because that position is not pagan at all. It's it's like the universal sign of motherhood. My mother used to sit me like that on her lap sometimes. Okay, I used to sit on her lap like that. Does that mean that if I'm a pagan? Does that mean that any pictures we have of that are pagan or intention or anything? No, it's a sign of motherhood. It's so stupid. It's just showing Mary's motherhood with Jesus, having him on her lap. Is that not something we can do? I mean, some people have tried to like make art showing like Jesus working as a carpenter with Saint Joseph. Is that pagan because maybe there was a pagan deity who used to chop down wood as well? No. There's nothing wrong with having Jesus on Mary's lap, something like that. And the first image, the two big ones, I question that first image that they show because it looks near identical to the one with Jesus on it, especially concerning the blessing part of it, with the blessing part of it with the ball on the other hand, right? I think that they've mislabeled these statues. Both of them are the same statue, just different versions. Okay, so both those women are the Blessed Virgin Mary, and both those children are Jesus. It's not Semiramis and Nimrod, because that definitely, if that's meant to be a statue of these ancient pagan Babylonian deities, they definitely do not look that old. I don't think even a few thousand years in desert sand would preserve them this well. So, I mean, those two images at the top, they definitely look like they're just different versions of the Blessed Virgin Mary holding Jesus. Definitely not Semiramis and Nimrod. Okay, so we can ignore those two. Rather at least their pagan connection. The two big images. Okay, those ones there, they're on the parent pagan connection. There's already confusion over who they meant to identify. One says it's Semiramis and Nimrod. Another says it's Semiramis and Tammuz. So I'm definitely doubting its authenticity. I can tell you that right now. It's definitely making. I mean, it makes sense to me that people would make up such lies. People go to incredible lengths to try and make up rubbish in order to undermine the church. They really will. Oh, this is interesting, guys. I found out that image of apparently the one I wasn't sure about, that little one. I found out that actually is a Madonna and child statue. Okay, and it's Bohemian School. It's from the Bohemian School or something. Apparently, I'm not sure. According to Google, at least. But what I do know is that it is a statue of the Virgin and Child. Yep, right here. Okay, it says so right here. So, okay, it was created between 1425 to 1430. This monumental stone sculpture was the rare late example of the beautiful style, which, though pervasive in Central Europe around 1400, appeared only briefly among the evolving sculptural styles in the imperial free city of Nuremberg. This sculpture was mounted on the canopy on the exterior of a house in Nuremberg until World War II. And yep, that is the same statue. Do you know what this means? That means that meme has no reference at all to base its accusations on. None at all. Absolutely brilliant. All four of those images display the Blessed Virgin Mary holding the child Jesus in her arms. Not one of them is Semiramis and Nimrod / Tamuth. None of them are pagan. And so what? And I know that on meme it says, basically references, oh, you know, both wear crown. So what? If I put a crown on now, am I pagan? Is the Queen of England pagan? No. And then will they say, okay, well, they're both called the Queen of Heaven. So what? Just because there are pagan gods, does that mean the term God can no longer be used? What do we call him then? What matters is the correct use of the term. Okay. The Blessed Virgin Mary is the Mother of God. Okay, not the mother of his divinity. She did not give him his divinity, but she is the Mother of God. And if he is the King of Heaven, then she is the Queen of Heaven. In the Davidic kingdom, that is Jesus' kingdom, she is the Queen Mother. All the references to the pagan gods called the Queen of Heaven died out hundreds of years before the Blessed Virgin Mary, or at least rather, I think it was maybe the Romans called Hera the Queen of Heaven. No, I mean Juno. Yeah, Juno. And then the Greeks called Hera, the Queen of Heaven. But that's completely different. That's just the recognition of a female, not a female, in those cultures, a female recognition of a female counterpart of the King of Heaven. But Christianity's version is completely different, because when it comes to the Blessed Virgin Mary, she is the daughter of the Father, spouse of the Holy Spirit, and the mother of Jesus. There's no other pagan god out there with a Queen of Heaven that has such a connection to them like that. Because of that, the Blessed Virgin Mary is the Queen of Heaven. But the title Queen of Heaven itself is fine to use. Okay? The intention of it for the Blessed Virgin Mary is to simply give her... Remember the commandments? Respect your parents? Well, if the Blessed Virgin Mary is the Mother of God, we better show her some utmost respect. And that's just recognition of her position. There's no pagan intent behind that name at all. So that's definitely been refuted. Hypocrisy at its worst. Over $700 million was raised overnight to rebuild Notre Dame, despite the fact that the cathedral is still standing and the Catholic Church is one of the wealthiest organizations in the world with a net worth of over $30 billion. Notre Dame doesn't need your money, but the 140,000 homeless people, including 30,000 children living in France, do. Follow, exposing the elite agenda. And this is an example of stupidity. You see, A, Notre Dame is not owned by the Catholic Church. It's owned by the French government. B, the Catholic Church cannot liquidize all its assets because of the majority of the church's wealth is in art and land. Okay, and they use that art and land. Okay, if the church owns an orphanage someplace, it's not going to sell that orphanage and get money from that. What is it going to do with services? The church spends more money than any other charity on earth, any other organization out there on earth, helping the homeless and the hungry and the sick. Okay, more than anyone else. Okay. Notre Dame, they said, is owned by the government. It's up to the government to rebuild that. If people want to donate that, then they can. There's nothing wrong with that. You cannot tell them how to spend their money. You can suggest it, saying, well, aren't there homeless people out there? But again, don't bring those accusations to me. Bring that to them. Trying to rebuild Notre Dame, if they maybe there's a publicity stunt, you know, just, okay, I'm going to donate this many millions of dollars or whatever. But to blame the church to say the church should be the one paying for it and instead of taking a charity for this, no, because like I said, the church does not own Notre Dame. She does not. So anything, you should be blaming the French government. Forgive me, Father, for I am boring. And shows a priest yawning during the confessional while someone's confessing. So, well, I think this is actually this is ignoring something quite important here. I mean, we didn't know the entire backstory behind this picture. For all we know, this priest has been here since maybe 6 in the morning, and it's been like, 10 hours later, and he's just really tired. I mean, when a while back, I was doing when I was doing my 40, I was doing 24 hours to the Lord, and it was basically a long day of prayers and masses and stuff for the end of the coronavirus pandemic. They were part of it, and I could see it on the live stream from my cathedral. Part of it was the constant adoration of the Blessed Sacrament, and so the priests would take shifts in keep being in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament. And I could see my priest there, my favorite, not necessarily my favorite one, but the one I know the best. Okay, And he was there, and he was sitting there before the Blessed Sacrament. He was kneeling like this. He was like, I couldn't see his expression because the image was too small, but you could tell that he was tired, and he was trying to stay awake, and that's understandable. Okay, I mean, I met with him the next day for confession or something, and he was exhausted. You could see that, and so I wouldn't blame him if he did yawn during my confession, because he's human. And this priest is probably, maybe he woke up early for this confession, or he's been there for hours. If you want to laugh at it, the idea, that's one thing, but don't hold it against the priest saying that they're lazy, because priests work a huge amount for people. Maybe not necessarily all of them. Maybe there's a few bad priests that don't, but priests do a huge amount of work for us, and they can be fatigued by that, which is why you need to pray for them. Okay, this one, the controversial one. Homosexual people have the right to be in a family. They are the children of God. Pope Francis said in one of his sit-down interviews for the film. Some guy said, he is not a true Catholic, and then someone said, he is literally the Pope. This is a misunderstanding of what Pope Francis is trying to say. If your son says that they are homosexual, are you going to kick them out the house, or will you still respect them as a member of the family, regardless of what they say, believe, or do? That is what Pope Francis is trying to say here. He's saying that we shouldn't be discriminating against people because of something they claim to be. Okay, he's effectively trying to say we should be treating them as people nonetheless. What's wrong with that? Now remember, children, what do you do when an atheist asks you logical questions? 1. Dodge. 2. Deflect. 3. Deny. 4. Ignore. 5. Accuse. 6. Call them stupid. 7. Promise to pray for them. I've never really done any of these. I mean, if I call someone stupid, it's usually never in the context of conversation. I mean, if I say I met this really stupid question or something, that's mainly aimed at the question, not at the person themselves. To dodge their question, I don't dodge their questions. To deflect, I don't deflect. I don't deny. I don't ignore or accuse or I do promise to pray for them sometimes. But this is definitely made by an atheist who has no clue what they're saying. Because the closest, actually, you know what, the fact that they actually look at the image, they definitely edited this image to cover up whatever it was they originally said, probably trigonometry or something. The closest I'll ever get to doing something like this is when I say, if they're accusing me of something, I'll say, hold on, I'll be right back. And it's not because I'm stupid and I don't know the answer. It's simply because, remember, theology is a huge subject, and history and church and the church and everything. I don't know everything. I'm still learning. Okay, I'm not an apologist or theologian or historian that can just come up with everything off the top of their head. The only time I don't engage with a critic directly, or at least constantly, is when I'm doing research on how to argue them. I'm not going to pretend I know everything. Okay, I usually wait for them to give an accusation, and then I do a breakdown of it. But I never try to cover up whatever they're saying, or try and brush past anything. Okay, if someone accuses me of that, then they clearly don't understand what I'm trying to do when I'm trying to break down their question and actually answer it for them. But none of these I do. Although I can imagine maybe the atheist in question was maybe he was dealing with fundamentalists that were saying something like this for him, because I don't see. No, wait. I have seen some Catholics who definitely are a bit critical like this, which is one of the reasons why I made my video. Don't be a Pharisee when it comes to dealing with them. I have seen, on the other hand, I have seen atheists do this. I have seen them dodge my questions. I have seen them deflect. I have seen them deny evidence because it doesn't suit their agenda, or rather their standards. I have seen them ignore what I've said. I have seen them accuse me of everything under the sun, Protestants as well. I have seen them call me stupid or ignorant or medieval or stuff like that. Or maybe a cult as well, which is shows they don't know what a cult is. And they don't promise to pray for me, but they usually say something along the lines of, I hope you get a brain or whatever. And honestly, I'm more amused by what they say, because it's stupid. I know not all atheists are like that. I know that. But it's definitely something to see them try so hard to criticize what I say when they can't seem to be able to put together their own case. And for them, I do pray for them. But I never do any of these tactics against them. I may take a while to respond to them, but that's because I'm breaking down the question, doing in-depth research. Or if I try and deflect, it's mainly because I'm trying to make them focus on if they try and go off on a tangent from a discussion we're doing, I'm just going to say, hey, no, get back on track. We're discussing this, not that. We can deal with that later. We're focusing on this. Or deny. I say, the closest I'll get to that is I'll say, hold on, let me check something. Or let me find resources. Let me find sources for you. But I never employ any of these tactics because logical fallacies in these tactics. I don't do. That's not how you make dialogue. Okay, that's not how you do it. Regardless of whether you're atheist, Christian, or non-Christian, whatever, don't use these tactics in a discussion because they're just going to make you seem, well, ignorant really of what you're trying to do and bias. And that's not how dialogue works. It's got to be a two-way stream of respect. My downvotes versus anti-Catholic memes. It shows a scene from Saving Private Ryan. Well, I don't have downvotes, but when it comes to critics and accusations, especially on Christian sites or atheist or not atheist pages that I follow, but definitely news sites that I do follow. When people do put forward claims about the church, I do engage with them, okay, and I try and criticize them. And sometimes it does feel like it's just me against the entire world out there, but I remain strong against it because initially it used to be overwhelming, but now that I have enough experience in what I'm saying, it's more of it's literally I've exercised certain arguments to the point I can use them quite well and efficiently. And so when people talk about stuff how we're pagan for, apparent idolatry or worshipping Mary or the sex abuse crisis in the church, I'm actually quite good when it comes to dealing with that sort of stuff. So it's more like if I don't know if I had a pistol like that. I'd probably say if I had maybe like a giant laser weapon or whatever. But in the beginning, for new apologists and theologians and people who try and defend the faith, it can be daunting to know. It can be daunting to come against all these these experienced critics and the sheer number of them and the accusations they bring forward. But in that case, all you need to do is just find one of us. Maybe in the comments, ask us to help you, or this is me speaking personally. Maybe some apologists don't want to interact with anyone, but if someone did ask for my help when it came to defending the faith from someone, I definitely would help them. Okay, you can guarantee that I would help you. Protestant logic: vestments, icons, gold, ornate worship space, incense / chanting / feasts. Pre-Christ, it's good. Protestant logic: vestments, icons, gold, ornate worship space, incense / chanting / feasts. Post-Christ, pagan nonsense. What? I'll be fair. They may be Catholic, this image, but I have a Eastern vibe with this. I mean, if it was Eastern, I wouldn't be surprised. But they are right. Protestants do seem to have some sort of... Maybe it's because they reject history. The majority of them reject history to a degree in order to undermine the Catholic faith. They must justify their Protestant faith. But their accusations against us are very weird because, again, vestments... No, okay, when it comes to ornate worship space, and they usually say, oh, why do you have so much gold in your churches and stuff? And I go, were you not aware Solomon wanted his temple to gleam with gold? Or when they say, why are you chanting pagan? Why are you chanting like a pagan? Or why do you have feast days? That's what pagans did. And you go, was Passover a pagan feast day? Was the Song of the Sea Moses sang pagan? Or the icons? And they will go, why do you worship statues and stuff? And I go, was the cherubim on the ark pagan? Or not the golden calf from Exodus, but the golden bulls used to have the bath on for the priests in the temple? Was that pagan? Or the vestments? I'm not exactly sure about the vestments. I mean, the mitre, the bishop's mitre. You know the hat that they wear. Not the papal tiara, but the one that they wear. That's the one. Okay, the mitre, the one picture I'm showing you. They usually connect that to some sort of pagan mythology or whatever. And I go, you do realize that was based upon an Italian hat from like a few hundred years ago, right? There's no way they would have known about what the Babylonians used to wear because we've only discovered those carvings recently. But it's irritating when they deal with this sort of stuff, when we face this sort of stuff, because it shows that they don't actually understand history. They don't understand how the New Testament is a fulfillment of the Old Testament. The New Covenant is the fulfillment of the Old Covenant. And it's even worse because then they say, why do you go to church on Sunday? You should go to church on Saturday. You Sabbath denier. And I go, you blame me having an ornate worship place. You blame me having golden statues and stuff in my church, which is the exact same thing that the priests of the Old Testament used to do. Yet you claim that you follow the Sabbath just like they do, but you're fine with that and hate it because I worship on a Sunday, as what the church used to do, following the New Testament. Okay, that's double standard right there. But again, to understand the New Testament, why we have what we have, we need to look at the Old Testament, and we see that everything's just a fulfillment of it. Okay, I would build a church and coat the inside with gold and jewels and everything if I could, just to show just my appreciation for God, saying only the finest, only the best in this church for God. People may interpret that wrongly. They may see it as vain or whatever. And I go, you know, I don't care what you think. I'm showing my appreciation to God for this. I spent billions on this church. I put together huge amounts of gold and so many precious gemstones, and it's so rich. And that's just me trying to show how much I love God. Because even though I'm doing this all with a sincere heart, I want to show God how much I love Him. I want people to come here and just be amazed at all this and know that God is even better than all this. That would be my reason why I would make my churches like that. And that's the reason why we have churches like that today. It's all for the glory of God. That's it effectively for this video. That's all the memes I've looked at for now. So anyway, if you like this video, please do give a like. Please do share my videos. And please do comment what you think of them. Any other videos you want me to do. Please do subscribe to my channel so you can see more content. And please do ring the bell so you keep up to date with my refuting anti-Catholic memes and also anti-Christian and anti-biblical memes. Next episode, I'm going to be looking at more anti-Catholic memes to just reviewing them, criticizing our criticism, refuting them for you guys. Because that seems to be the common trend. I said these videos, everything that seems immoral or wrong or weird about the faith is a misunderstanding, mistranslation, out of context, or a metaphor or a literal saying just interpreted the wrong way. And if you have any memes that you want me to refute, please put the link in the comments and I can go and refute them for you guys. That'll be for then. So anyway, God bless you all. See you next video, comrades. Until then.